course, I do want to talk about real quick because Brendan just was a producer in the documentary Dancin Bulldogs, which was the story about the Gardner-Webb University college basketball team going to the NCAA tournament for the first time. And it's my first time interviewing someone who produced a documentary, let alone someone that produced a documentary in a pandemic. So, Brendan, what was that all about? And definitely want to hear your perspective on it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the credit goes to our director, writer, composer, just a guy who wore a ton of different hats for the piece, Christian Jessup. His reasoning for doing it was seeing The Last Dance at the very beginning of the pandemic, saying, you know what if we did just a 5-10 minute piece on Gardner-Webb's trip to the tournament for the first time with him, myself, Thomas Manning, Eli Hardin, everybody who worked on this thing, all being alums of the school. We said, okay. And it was supposed to only be like a 10-minute tribute, and then the ball started rolling a little bit. They were able to get in touch with head coach Tim Kraft, which was super easy because we all have relationships with Tim. And he was able to provide phone numbers and info for some of his former guys. And then we just started the interview process. But to your point, during a pandemic, and especially with some of these guys playing basketball now overseas, it's not like you were able to sit and have a nice setup and bring guys in 1v1 for interviews. So we did an entire documentary through Zoom, essentially. The four of us, the writers and producers, director, we never met face-to-face throughout the process. It's pretty crazy to say we did almost a feature-length film. It was about an hour and 20 minutes if you include the credits. We did that start to finish in 4 months, completely over Zoom, never had face-to-face interaction with each other. And I'm just really proud of the product we were able to put out because we all hear about Cinderella runs. We all hear about Stephen Curry and his run with Davidson. Loyola Chicago in the tournament a few years ago, UMBC, the first 16 to knock off a number one. But we never hear about the stories of a team going and being a 16 seed for the very first time. Mid-majors, for some mid-major schools, they never get that experience. So we really wanted to dive into that. What's the story and how much does it mean for a small-knit community to go to the dance for the first time? And especially this Gardner-Webb team that was the number 4 seed going into the conference tournament. They win road games to punch a ticket. And then just 1 year after UMBC pulled it off against Virginia, Gardner-Webb leads Virginia at the half 36-30 in that game. And it looked like there was a potential for 16 to beat 1 for the second straight year. So it was really cool to be able to do that, especially as an alumni of the university, someone who's still associated with the university. I broadcast a lot of games down in Boiling Springs. So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. But to think that we could do that during a pandemic was something different for me. I've never produced anything. I've never been a part of something like that. I do have a production company, Bottom of the Mug Productions, but that was more for podcasting and like what we're doing right now. But to be able to take that and throw it into a film, that was really cool.
And thank you for definitely going over this. And I'm definitely going to leave the link in the description below. Definitely, guys, check that out. I think it's a really interesting story, a story that, as you said, you don't hear every day about those mid-major schools. And it's definitely something that I can relate to as going to kind of a smaller school and kind of understanding the close-knit community of certain college campuses around the U.S. So definitely, guys, check that out.